Hello there, I'm Nathalia Melo, your unfiltered fit BFF, mom of two turned CEO of a fitness empire. Someone who understands the struggles of trying to stay fit, sane, and sexy, all while juggling work, life, and motherhood. And this is the Unfiltered Fit Life podcast. Follow along wherever you're listening and join me weekly as I help busy working moms just like you simplify their fitness journey so they can lose weight, regain their confidence, and feel sexy AF. It's time to stop living in the what ifs and hiding from the cameras. It's time to regain control over your body, feel sexy naked, and wear a bikini confidently. People already see you as a super confident woman, but it's time for you to feel the same way too. Let's go. Hello there, fam. Welcome to another episode of the Unfiltered Fit Life podcast. I'm Nathalia Melo, your host. And today I have a super special guest because she is not only a member of the Powerhouse Academy, but the story on how she became a member of the Powerhouse Academy is very, very special to me. Okay. Cris, welcome to the Unfiltered Fit Life podcast. I'm very excited to have you. How are you?
Fine, and I'm very happy that I'm here. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no, I'm very excited. So before we talk about you and like the listeners can have a little bit of a background, I want to talk about the story about how you joined the Powerhouse Academy and then you freaked out.
That's an understatement.
Like she freaked out. She was so scared of like the change and that it was a waste and that it wasn't going to work. She sent us an email. She's like, I want a refund. I don't want to start like all the things. And we were like, okay, let's chat. Let's see what's going on. So tell us a little bit about that, Cris, because you had been training for some time. So
yes,
talk to us.
I had lost 50 pounds 5 years ago, and I had been training since about that time. And I kept things pretty about the same. I thought I had found my winning combination, but as Nathalia later will, in our conversation we show, there was some key pieces missing. And then when I signed up for the program, I was so excited. And then I started getting all these forms for things to fill out. And then I wake up and then I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm not going to do my usual workout. I'm going to be eating what? And then I'm like, my brain just went into freeze mode and terrified. And we're like, we're not doing this. I'm sorry, but no, eject. And I remember like the coaches had to pursue me because I wouldn't even like schedule my calls with them or anything. I was just like, nope, I'm not doing this. So it's quite hilarious now looking back. On my scared self.
What were you scared like now? And again, I'm going off the cuff here. I don't think I've ever asked you, but what were you scared of?
Well, I think because it took me, it took a complete 180 on my mindset, how I view myself, like my identity, to be able to lose and maintain the loss of those 50 pounds. And I'd never exercised in the past, and I became a person who now exercises consistently. That I thought that the key to my success in maintaining that was in what I had been doing for those 5 years. Like I was kind of like, okay, if I let go of this, like my blankie, my binky, my security blanket, I'm like, if I let go of this, then it's forget it. Like there's no way I'm gonna keep, maintaining this.
Yeah.
And I realized that it wasn't the structure, it was me who set those original structures. So I'm like, wait, it is me who created this. I can sure pivot, do something differently, and keep the success or be even more successful.
Yeah. So I think that what I'm hearing is like you were, which is very common. You were scared of change. You were scared of going to the unknown because you had been doing the same thing, even if it wasn't giving you the results that you wanted, but it was something that you knew.
Yes. I legit cried the first morning that I woke up and I didn't go to my usual class. Like I was,
even though we told you that you could go to classes.
It was looking back now again, it's funny, but I was like having a complete breakdown out of the fear of trying something new.
Yeah. No, it was, And this was what, like 5 months ago?
But I'm on my month 5 of the program, so
Uh-huh.
4 to 5 months ago. Because of my fear, I started like 2 weeks later.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yes, about 4 to 5 months ago.
And what is it that made you not just run? What about
Well, first I realized, well, it was me 5 years ago who made the decision to do what I was doing. So it's me now. If I joined the program, it was for a reason. And then I just started trusting myself instead of trusting the process. I'm like, okay, let me trust why I made this decision. And then it really was when I met with first
Jen?
Jen, which is one of the coaches, and then with Cara, I was all in. Like with one, I don't remember who I met first with, but with one of them, I'm
Jen.
like, okay, this is good. We're okay.
Yeah.
And then when I met with the second one, it just came full circle. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
I'm all in. I'm gonna give this a try. It just gave me a
Yeah.
lot of reassurance talking with them.
What was it about the meeting with them that made you reassured?
Well, first of all, when I met with Jen, since I have my history with eating disorders, and even though I had lost the weight and maintained it and become an athlete, I still was dealing with some background noise about that. And knowing that Jen had been in the fitness industry for so long, that she's
She
a
was a counselor.
therapist, a licensed therapist that deals specifically with those type of issues in the industry, and then also meeting with a
Kara.
specialist in nutrition that
Yeah.
also had experience within the industry. I'm like, okay, I think they know what they're doing.
Yeah. I love that. I love,
Mm-hmm.
and this has been a big thing for me always, because that's actually, I was writing some piece of content, that for a long time I didn't even want to become a coach because my experience had been with, the people that want to do everything and they do everything badly. And then they, excuse
Mm-hmm.
my French, they fuck people up.
Yes.
And then, I knew that whenever I went into this, I wanted to make sure that I was doing it the proper way
Yes.
with experts, with professionals.
Yes. And I want to mention this because it didn't only came up for me, but as I was telling one of my coaching friends, really good friends that has known my whole journey, she mentioned it too without me mentioning this to her. And I hope this doesn't sound a negative way because I don't mean it, but the program has this feminine energy in the sense that you know what, women's body are not the same as male body. And I think sometimes in the fitness industry we have this kind of like male energy about like how we
Yeah.
approach food and how we approach the workouts, and
Yeah.
we're just gonna do this. And I think my mind and my body needed this, like this kind of like feminine energy coming from a very different place. And I just love it.
Yeah,
Yes.
I love it. I appreciate that, and I think that it is a very cool story because it's normal to be afraid of the unknown, and I appreciate that you're like, okay, girl, chill, and that you decided to move forward, and here we are. But
Hmm.
now let's kind of take a few steps back. Can you tell us a little bit about who you are? Who is Cris?
Oh my gosh, how much time do we have? Well,
Uh, a Cliff
I
Note
don't know.
version.
Yes, yes. So I was born and raised in Puerto Rico, and I was born with, the mindset, like many, many cultures, that if you don't eat more than a first serving, you are disrespectful, but then
Hmm.
they're expecting you to look a certain way. So
Yeah,
I was always legit confused. I would look at my dad and be like, how will you expect me to look the way you want me to look if you want me to eat the way that you want me to eat? There's just
it's too
it's just
confusing.
I don't get it. So I had my history of eating disorders. I had 3 babies. My last one, I had her when I was 37. But I always craved. I would look at fitness people like you. For example, I had
Yeah,
been following you before I lost my weight, like 10 plus years. And people like athletes, and I would just, there was something inside of me that yearned for that. I'm like,
yeah,
I don't know if I was just born to be an athlete or whatever, but it was something of me craving that. Fast forward to after my last pregnancy, I remember telling my husband, I'm like, I don't know if mentally I'm ready for this, but I think I want to lose this weight. I
yeah.
5'2.5", and I was weighing 170. So by BMI standards, like I was on, like classified as having obesity. So, and I had never been like that. Again, I had my
Hmm.
last baby at 37.
Hmm.
Moved cities, started a new job. I'm a dermatologist, by the way. I'm a
Yeah.
physician.
Yeah.
I'm a
That,
dermatologist.
that's kind of what I think that is important to mention
Yes.
is because, we have a lot of women who are incredibly smart,
Yes.
like you're a doctor
Yes. So
and then there is like, oh, I kind of know what to do. I know what
yeah.
to do. But the reality is that there is a difference between knowing what to do and knowing
Mm.
how to do it, despite of
Yes.
how smart you are in your field.
And I will admit this to you, and I don't think I've ever told you this. And as you're mentioning that, so I'm a physician. Um, and then also I have life coaching training. I have a life coaching certification specializing in weight loss. And I did not have a learner's attitude at all when I entered this program. I thought like I knew all the things. I knew that my body was quote unquote carb sensitive and I needed to carb cycle and restrict carbs. And I remember you telling me, girl, there's a first class ticket to this destination. You just don't even know. And that's the key. And I've mentioned it to you so many times before. That's the phrase that I'm like, oh, maybe she's right. Because I thought I knew it all. I thought I had tried it all. I'm like, I'm an intelligent woman. I've done my research. I've read. There's no way there's another way of doing this that is not restrict more and work out more.
I love that. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
So, and what was it that so you're a physician, 3 kids,
Yes.
married. Are we going to mention the other business that you have too?
Oh my
Like,
gosh. Yes. Yes. So
I don't know how many hours in the day she has, by the way, guys. I have no idea.
So I love to bake. That's like my hobby, always therapeutic. And then when COVID came and I had more time in my hands, long story short, partnered up with somebody in town, a Venezuelan friend of mine, and we opened up a cafe. We have a bakery that serves like food, Venezuelan food, some Puerto Rican food. Like right before I got on this call, I sent the marketing email for the plate that we're having this weekend.
That's
Um,
funny.
yes, and a bakery. So I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a business owner, I'm a physician, I'm a life coach, and then I also finished my master's in seminary. I just finished that this summer, and I love it. I love it all. And a mother of 3.
Love it. Love it. So whenever you reached out and just 1 second, Leah, 1 second. Cris, can you fix the phone? Because sometimes you're coming out off the frame.
Oh, because the iPad.
Yeah. Move a
I'm
little
gonna
bit to
save
this
you
side.
here,
No, the other side.
there.
Yeah,
Oh, when
there.
it's purple is when.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
right there.
Oh, it comes on and off. Oh,
Yeah, you stay on frame. If you can move a little bit the iPad, that would be helpful. The other way. No, no, no.
oh.
Move back, back. Put it back. No, put the iPad back. Yes, and move a little bit to your right side. Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Perfect.
Oh, it went away again.
No, it's not. You're good.
Okay, awesome.
You're good. It's perfect.
Okay.
Leah, we're back on. Okay. So, Cris, what were you struggling with whenever you reached out to me? What was the if factor that you were like, okay, I'm fed up with this. I think I need help.
Well, I think it was, again, I had been doing the same thing for 4 to 5 years. And yes, I had lost the weight. Yes, had achieved some fitness results, like in the fitness, the tone that I wanted. But then I kind of like plateau and just stay like that. And I wanted more definition in certain areas. And not only that, but I was dealing with a lot of hunger, and not only hunger, but it's kind of like intrusive thoughts of overeating and binging. And again, I have my eating disorder history. And in my mind, I'm like, either I allow myself to just gain some weight, or if I'm going to get the goals that I want, I may just have to restrict more and do more cardio. That's all. And I'm like, and I don't want to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember the post that you made, because again, I had been following you for 10 plus years, kind of like on the corner. But then I remember that, I don't know if it was kind of like real or something that you posted about the day that you won Olympia, that you went to different gas stations looking for was it cookies?
Yeah.
Cookies. And I saw myself in that. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, okay. And then I started paying more attention to you and your content. And then I saw that you targeted busy women, most of
Yeah.
them in their 40s or
Yeah.
late 30s. And oh, she gets it. She's a mom. Look at the journey she's had. Look at how she
Yeah.
looks. I mean, there must be something here, and that's what
Yeah.
kind of like got my attention.
So for you, it was more like the plateauing, and
Yes,
then getting into that loop of, oh, I'm going to do more. I'm going to do more cardio, and I'm going to
yes,
restrict more because
yes,
it stopped working. So the solution must be to do more, more, more.
yes.
And
And I didn't want to, so I felt so hopeless. I'm like, oh, I might
yeah,
as well just give up on the idea because I just don't want to do what's required, like what my
yeah.
brain thought.
And that was one of the things. And Chris, if you don't feel comfortable with me saying this, we can cut it out. I'm
Yeah.
perfectly okay with that. But I remember that one of the things that caught my attention in our conversation is that I think that you didn't even realize how stuck on the cycle you
Mm-hmm.
were, because one of the things that you mentioned was that you turned away a meal with a family member.
Yes. My brother who lives in Florida, I live in Texas, and he was visiting, and I was doing some crazy shit. I'm saying that because you already
Yeah. Oh
heard
yeah.
some.
Oh girl. Like,
I was doing some crazy shit, cycle diet. I don't remember what it was. And I just didn't go to the date. I just stayed home. I'm like, oh, I have a
yeah.
headache. I'm gonna stay. And he, my daughter, my husband, they all went for this dinner. Well, the last night he was here, and I didn't go.
Yeah. And that was, I think, what our call was 5 6 months ago, and I still remember very vividly
Mm-hmm.
because I
Mm-hmm.
asked, and I think that when I asked you questions around that, I think that that's when it started to click for you, because I
Mm-hmm.
don't think that you had realized how toxic this cycle was.
Mm-hmm.
And then I asked you something about that, and you thought that it was completely okay, completely
Yes.
normal. I'm
Yes.
like, girl. So and I think that that's something that a lot of people struggle with, and they just accept. They think that that's how it needs to be.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And I
Yeah.
just, again, like you said, I saw it as normal.
Hmm.
And I mean, on one part, I'm like, well, like I remember telling you, but I've traveled and I've been able to maintain my weight. But when I was looking the story, like as I was telling to you, but I didn't go to this dinner with my brother because I was doing this part here. And then some parts of my day, I'm just completely absent from my kids because I'm like in my own mind about the restriction or the overeating. And I'm like, oh. And I remember you telling me, would you recommend that to your daughter, what you're
Yeah.
doing? And that's when I was like, F
Oh,
no.
yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and had you worked with coaches in the before? Had you ever, or have you
Yes.
ever done other programs or things like that before?
Not a program like this, but like my husband's best friend in Puerto Rico, he's a doctor, he's a bodybuilder, and he owns a gym. And
Hmm.
I would always have like FaceTime calls once a month. He would prescribe me like my nutrition plan.
Yeah.
And
So
yeah,
you
I
have
did
worked
that
with a
like for
coach.
4 years. What?
So you have worked with a coach, with somebody.
Yes.
Okay.
With
And how
yes.
has it been different, the what you've experienced in the Powerhouse Academy to what you're experiencing? And again, this is not going to be bash fest about your
No, no, no,
husband's friends,
no.
because I'm sure he's a lovely guy, but how has it been different, what you are experiencing in the Powerhouse Academy to what you did before?
I think the first word that comes to my mind is more holistic.
Yeah.
Again, like you guys, you just take everything into consideration, the state of life that we're at. What I remember filling out this whole questionnaire about what would be my ideal breakfast. And I remember being, this is so sad that I've done this dieting so long that I don't even know what my ideal breakfast would be because
Yeah.
I've been having the same thing for so long. So so you guys take just everything, like my lifestyle, how many hours per week was I willing to work out, how many hours per day, how many days, how many meals. So they like, I was like, oh, like I matter, like what I say,
Yeah.
I have a say. And then the
Yeah.
other thing is the availability. Whenever I remember the first week I started the program, I went to Disney to celebrate my daughter's birthday, and Kara was just there, available, walking me through the entire trip, just helping me. She's like, I had meal and dessert at Beauty and the Beast Castle during my daughter's birthday, and we had a great time. And I just didn't miss out on absolutely anything.
Yeah.
And that availability, that communication, and the holistic approach, I think, is the game changer.
Yeah. And I love that you're mentioning this. And whenever we're talking holistic, we're not talking like the woo woo kind of
No, no, no,
holistic.
no.
It's really of treating the person as a whole, because,
Yeah.
a lot of times you see like, oh, it's just a workout. Well, not really, because you also need to understand the background of the person, like, we've had stories of somebody that like didn't want to eat carbs, but it was because somebody in her family had a very serious health condition, and
Mm-hmm.
that carbs was really the devil, and
Mm-hmm.
there was that trauma in the back. So I think understanding the person as an individual is a big
Mm-hmm.
piece.
Yes, totally. The like
Yeah.
the busy life, like our schedules, all of it.
So I think we kind of touched on this, but what were you skeptical about? What were you fearful about whenever we had the conversation?
Mm-hmm.
And even before you reached out and we talked, like, what was it that made you scared?
Again, I thought it was not gonna work, that I was gonna lose all the progress that I had so proudly made and maintained for that long. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
there's no way this is gonna work. Like I remember eating that first week and I'm like, there's no way this is gonna work, but I'm gonna try it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So
And then
you're
when
scared of the unknown.
yeah, totally. Like yeah, like humans, human brains, always scared of the unknown.
Yeah.
And but I trusted myself. But I'm like, I'm gonna trust myself on making this decision on this program, and I'm gonna commit to it. I'm just gonna do it, and I
Mm-hmm.
started seeing the results.
Yeah. Because this is something that we have conversations a lot about internally. I
Mm-hmm.
have conversations with with Jen and with Kara.
Mm-hmm.
For those listening, Jen is our head coach. She's also a counselor. Kara is a registered dietitian, head of nutrition for the Powerhouse Academy. And, just because somebody invests in the program, it doesn't necessarily translate that they trust us yet.
Mm-hmm.
So I truly believe that trust needs to be earned,
Mm-hmm.
because just a financial like a transaction does not guarantee trust.
Totally.
What
Yes.
made you trust?
As I started living it, like just following through. The communication for me was key. Like I was very, very that first week that I went out of town and I saw the communication. I'm like, oh, I can trust them. They're gonna be there. They're
Yeah.
gonna hold my hand. They're gonna be
Yeah.
there. So that's awesome.
Yeah, I think that I don't want to put words in your mouth, but would it be fair to say that it's like we give a shit, like we care, like we
Oh,
truly
yes,
care?
yes, totally,
Yeah.
100%. Like you're there.
Yeah,
Hmm.
for me that's a big thing as well, because it is a challenging journey, especially when you're juggling so much. And,
Hmm.
there's so many people out there that that truly do not care.
Hmm.
So it's always been very intentional to not only me, but also to bring a team that really cares.
Yes. Or they're just too busy. They have too many clients, or they are just so busy that they just don't
Yeah.
answer a message like in 2 or 3 days.
Yeah.
I'm like, no,
Yeah.
but I need it now. I need to know now.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree with you. And that's the thing. Could we have more people in the program? Yes, but I'm not going to do that until
Yes.
I feel like we have the complete infrastructure to be able to support everybody at the level that you got your support.
Yes, and I feel it feels like such a cozy community. Like I don't feel like there's like whatever number of women. Like it really feels like, oh, everybody knows each other. We're all here together. Like I love
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, we know when somebody, like, I don't know, we had a member that had to go to the doctors, was in urgent care, and then every next day everybody's like, "Hey girl, are
How
you
are
okay? Is
you?
everything good?" And I
Yes.
think that is powerful, that kind of
Mm-hmm.
environment.
Yes.
What's because again, now you are on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing that I get asked a lot from people is, "Oh, I don't know what's going to be like when I'm inside of it. I can just see from the outside." And
Mm-hmm.
and I understand, because again, kind of like we were talking about, there's so much fuckery out there that I
Mm-hmm.
understand why people have trust
Mm-hmm.
issues. As I was telling you before your freak out, whenever you decided to commit the first time, and then you
Yes.
had the freak out, and then you trusted us again,
Yes.
what made you decide to commit?
Because first, I think when you said what opened up my brain to it in like that window was when you said, Chris, what if there's a first class ticket to the destination and you just haven't experienced it? That planted the seed. I'm like, what if she's right? But then also having the license, that it wasn't only about a workout program, like you had a licensed therapist that knew about the fitness industry and like eating disorders and all of that, like just it kind of like, okay, I can trust them. They have a
Yeah.
licensed therapist in case I have a freak out. I
Yeah.
need to reach out. And then when you explain the structure of the program and this is what we do and we deal with all of these components, when I saw like I was going to be seen and treated as a whole human,
Yeah.
then I think that's when I'm like, okay, I'm going to try this out.
Okay. Okay. And
Mhm.
how has it it's been 5 months, and in the first few weeks you went to Disney with your kids.
Mhm.
Um so it's not that like you're living your best life.
Oh,
So what have been your biggest wins since joining the Powerhouse Academy?
well, I think the biggest win has been the biggest is seeing that it is possible to achieve my goals while eating a wide variety of foods, and also that not necessarily have to do much more horrible workout cardio sessions in order to get there. So that has been very eye-opening. Even my husband is a physician as well, and
Mm-hmm.
he was into fitness when we met. He's not anymore, but he kind of like, he's a sports medicine doctor and all of
Mm-hmm.
that, and he was very surprised. Like he was a little bit skeptical,
Yeah.
but when he saw me doing it, he even mentioned, he's like, it's like an edge has been taken off you. He told me, like you're not on the edge anymore about food. Like it's just like calmer, and I can feel that in my body. So that's been a major win, like major win for me. And yeah, I would say, and physically, of course, my thighs, I finally have more definition there, which was my main goal for joining. But yeah, I think the goals have been just showing, like seeing, experiencing that it can be done in a better way.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that you can we go back to that? I love that your husband
Yes.
noticed. How do
Yes.
you think that it has improved your quality of life at home? Like, because if you're always on edge, people
Yes.
around you are like, even if, and that's one thing that I think a lot of people don't realize when I
Mm-hmm.
ask, because I guarantee that if I had asked you on that first call, do you think that how you feel impacts your family, you'd have said no.
No.
100%. I have no doubt
Yes.
about it. But now with that your husband said,
Mm-hmm.
he
Yeah.
saw it, he noticed, and probably your kids saw it and noticed as well. So how
Pro.
do you think that has improved?
Oh, like beautifully. Like it's so nice to not have, I don't know, to be like, now that I'm in my macro meal plan that we build, like it's just so good to see, like I can go to my kids wherever and not be, I don't, like this anal bitch about like where we're going and where we're having, and being like, sometimes my kids were like, Mom, I made this, I want you to try it, and they would like put like president. I'm like, oh, I cannot have this because it has like 4 grams of sugar.
Uh-huh.
So, and yeah, like it definitely, I feel more relaxed, more at ease,
Hmm.
like through my daily life with my family, and that is everything because family is the most important thing to me.
100%. And again, this is a question that I always talk about because I spoke with somebody the other day and they're like, oh, we're looking for something that is about $200, $100 a month. And I'm like, I'm not your person.
Mm-hmm.
So the investment, this is a program that it's not cheap. I don't want to be cheap. I don't think that the level of service that we provide would be cheap. But
Mm-hmm.
again, I understand that a lot of people come with the baggage of bad experiences and they have nothing to compare because what we do truly is one of a kind.
Yes.
What would you tell somebody?
I feel, and I get it because I've been in that position before, but truly this is it's a VIP experience. Like the coaches are really there. It's that first class ticket, and there's not a price tag to your time. Time is a
Mm-hmm.
resource that never comes back. You cannot save it in a jar for later. And I say that today that I send my kids to the first day of school. And that time that I was bitching or not with my brother in the restaurant or not sitting down with my husband because I was, I don't know, on the edge, like that's just priceless.
Yeah.
It's
What
just,
would you tell a friend if she was like, "Oh, I want to do it, but oh, I don't want to. I don't want to spend this kind of money," and she was struggling with the same things as you were.
I would be like, if you do have the money and it's a matter of not wanting to spend it, believe me, 100% worth it. It's 100% worth it. Think about all the other money that you spend trying things that don't work, and like when you count that little here, little there, it accumulates to a lot. Count of all the other like fats, diet, that energy that you can be using for something else, or I don't know, like because people try, we try a bunch of crap here and there,
Yeah.
and that adds up. Like it might
Yeah.
be like a $69 membership to a month, but that adds up, particularly if you don't use it because it's
Yeah.
not working out, or you don't have the accountability. So that's first. Second, the health and your well-being is priceless. And if the person doesn't have the money, I would say find a way to save up for it because
Yeah.
it's totally worth it. It's totally worth it.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you saying that, and I like to address the elephant in the room
Mm-hmm.
because if I speak to somebody, they're like, "Oh, you cannot fix an expensive problem with a Dollar Tree budget."
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because then the person just keeps on being stuck on the same cycle over and over again, and that's a big thing for me, is like to take people out of cycles like the one that you were in.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I
Totally.
appreciate you saying this, Cris. Anything that you'd like to add before you wrap up? Anything you'd like to share with people listening who might be struggling with their fitness, who might be wanting to make progress? What would be your word of
Yeah.
encouragement?
Well, first, as a baker, I will tell you that if you keep trying to make the same a different cake with the same recipe, it's not gonna change. Like if we want to improve something, we need to be willing to go through the fear of changing maybe a recipe that is beloved to us or a family tradition in order to have a better outcome. So that's one thing. And the other is be open to possibilities. Like I was so fixed on, oh, I know it all. I like if you're on the edge and like on the fence, not on the edge. If you're on the fence about joining and you just don't think that it's possible, it's just because you haven't experienced it doesn't mean that it's not out there and it's not possible. This
Mm-hmm.
definitely is an amazing program.
Think I love the analogy with the
Mm-hmm.
recipe.
Yes,
And I think that it's so true. I'm a big fan of analogies, and that one I might steal that one from you.
for sure.
Well, Cris, thank you so much. Thanks for being a great member to our community. Thank you for trusting us when I know that, at first we were asking for a lot more trust than you were comfortable giving.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate you going for it and allowing us to be part of this journey with you and be speaking about it now 5 months later,
Mm-hmm.
and to be such a successful story. Thank
Thank
you.
you. I love it. Thank you.
Thanks for your time. Bye bye. Thank you so much for tuning in this week. But let me ask you, what was your aha moment in today's episode? I would love to know. You can leave me a comment or voice message at the link in the show description. You can also follow me on Instagram and let me know what topics you want to hear more about or who I should have on the show. As for today, this is it for today, guys. I'll see you back next week for another episode of the Unfiltered Fit Life podcast.